and welcome to Coffee and Card, March 2023, and this month we're using Bamboo Beauty, and also if you upgraded you got 3 blending brushes as well, because we're doing quite a bit of blending on the cards that we're doing this month. So shall we get started? Right. So this first one here, I've got a blended background, and then I've used little drops of water to just add some more detail, and some twine on the bottom there. And we have in your pack, I reuse my paper bags, and I'm thinking this one might be done. Oh no, we'll get it out, get it out. Okay, so the colours I've used are Shaded Spruce as the background. So I've blended Shaded Spruce and stamped with Shaded Spruce, and this is Pacific Point. Obviously it's up to you what you want to do. And I've also embossed your front piece of Basic White, and this is using the Timber embossing folder, which I really like. I do like a background embossing folder. It's a really easy, fairly reasonable way of getting some texture on the back on your cards. Then you've got another piece to go inside, and obviously your envelope. So I'm going to put all these aside, and some little bits of twine as well to wrap around the feature piece. Okay, so we're going to start with our blending, and I'm going to start at the bottom with the Shaded Spruce. As I say, any green and blue combination will do, or whatever colour you want to use. Just trying to find a greenish blending brush. That one will do. So I find you don't need to have 52 blending brushes. It would be great. You really don't need to have them. So I have one that I do my greens with. I have another one I do my blues with. I let my son loose with my blending brushes, so I do seem to have a lot of purple ones at the moment. I do find the blue inks do, so obviously that one used to be green, so they do stain a little bit, but once they're washed out, the ink doesn't transfer, so it's great. But obviously if you are sort of mid-blend, don't wash your brushes, don't wet your brushes. A really good way of getting any remaining ink off is a dry microfiber cloth. So I'm just double checking, although this is very green, greeny blue. That looks very Bermuda Bay to me. I'm just checking I've no ink left on there. Okay, so I'm going to start at the bottom. I'm going to get all the dust that I've just shaken onto my card off, and I'm just gently, so don't press down, okay, just gently, and hold the handle, not the head of your brush. And then I'm going to start off and then go on to my card. Now I've chosen these colours because they are quite dark, so they blend really nicely and quickly. Obviously, if you go for a more subtle colour, for example, Pool Party, you can get a lovely effect, but it does take a while. You've got to build up several layers. So here we are. You can already see I'm getting colour on this card with just one load of the ink. So I'm just going to do another one just to even it up. Although because I'm actually going to uneven the background anyway by using drops of water, it doesn't have to be super regular. Okay, so just picking up a little bit more ink again off, and then I'm going to come in from this side. There we go. I'm just blending this bottom half of this card. Okay, and I'm keeping that brush nice and light to avoid getting sort of darker areas. Okay, so I'm coming up past halfway because you want them to blend together. So, and you can always come back and add some more. As they always say, you can't take it off, but you can add more. So I'm going to leave the green for now, and I'm going to start with the Pacific Point Sky. Itchy. I don't know why I've got such an itchy nose. Someone's obviously in trouble. Okay, and so I'm going to use one of my many blue ones don't let your son loose with your blending brushes. He is 17 and he had a fabulous time, but everywhere was such a mess. Okay, so I've just gently picked up some ink and I've just got the worst or the most off. And you need to just lightly come in and change your direction as well to spread it out. And again, as you can see, the Pacific Point gives you a nice deep colour to start with. Balmy Blue takes forever. It's beautiful, but it takes lots of layers to get it to any kind of depth. So obviously I've gone with a Regal and a Bright here, so that I've got some nice, fairly quick to show you. So I'm just concentrating on these little bits here, which I seem to have a sort of darker bit in the middle there and round the edge, and then two lighter bits on the side there. So I'm just going to pick up a little bit more ink, and I'm just going to lightly and then just concentrate on that area there, backwards and forwards, and same here. Just backwards and forwards, but still keeping, you know, a very light touch. You know, you see people doing this, which is great, you get a really dark colour, but that's not the level I'm looking for, and I'd rather just take my time and just slowly add more colour rather than thinking, oh my god, I've got a massive splodge there and I can't blend it out. Okay, and keep remembering to go over your green as well, because you want those to blend in. So I'm just going to go with another light covering, just coming on, concentrating on these corners. I think it was where I first came on. I managed to get a really big deep section just there. So back down into the green and just gently blending. Okay. Yep, I'm going to put a little bit more on. I'm just going to do a straight over there. There we go, that's better. So now the colours are blending in better. Okay, have a play, you know. You'll have card in your stash. You can have a play until you've got the effect you want. But the one thing I've found with blending is it's patience. What you need is patience. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to pop that away because I'm finished with that. Sorry, excuse me. Put these two away in my used pot. So they'll be, when you're drying them as well, dry them this way. So I have, like, I mean, these are actually waiting to go to be washed, but I put them sort of that way to dry so that you're not dissolving the glue, the water's coming away from the glue, and that just lengthens the life of your brushes. So, and then I've got a little pot of water here and one of our watercolour brushes. And I am going to do a few little splashes. So obviously I don't want this anywhere near it. So I'm just going to gently load up this brush with water, and then I'm just dropping a few little drops onto my card. Seem to be getting a lot on the green and not much on the blue. Excuse the noise. We do seem to be getting a few more drips with that. Here's my bone folder, that's probably less bangy. There we go. So I'm just getting a few little scattered drops. Oops, bit nuts there. Okay, and then I'm just going to leave them a second. Still wanting a few more on that blue. Let me just get, see, it just keeps going on the green. The more I do, the more it goes on the green. Get on the blue. There we go. Okay, I'm just going to dry that brush. So that was just with plain water. The other way of doing it actually is with, if you do it with alcohol, it dries a lot quicker than water. I had that water to hand. Well, I didn't have the water to hand. I don't have any alcohol to hand. So you can see there that they were just getting some little bubbles on that card. And it's actually raising the texture of the card where the water hit. So I'm then going to take a tissue. I have here, and I'm just going to press down on this just to dry it out. You can leave it just to air dry, but I find if you've got any big splodges like I had on this one, if you press it back down again, it dries flatter. Okay, that's good. So you can just, it's very subtle. It just gives that extra bit of texture on your paper. Okay, so I've done that. So now I'm going to do some stamping. So I've kept my shaded spruce out, and I'm going to use the 2 leaves. And so that's 1, 2, and sending caring thoughts I'm going to do as well. Okay, so I'm going to leave probably, let's have a look, how much is that? Oh, I'm in inches, don't want to be in inches, so it's about 2 centimetres up. Okay, to leave room for the string, twine, whatever you want to call it. So I'm going to start with the smaller leaf, and I'm going to stamp it sort of in line with this that's 4 blocks, so it's about 2 centimetres there. And I am stamping, as I said, with the shaded spruce. Okay, and that's going to go sort of like that there, and then I'll pop that off. And pop the bigger one on the block. I'm going to put some sharing, sending caring thoughts is going to be roughly there. And what I did was try and cross them over where the leaves, where the stems crossed. Get that out of the way, I might have to do a bit lower. So that we've got like a bunch. There we go. How beautiful is that? So nice and simple. All the cards that we've done this month. After last month's complicated names, we've got some nice, simple, effective cards this month. And then we're just going to add the sending caring thoughts. And I'm just going to pop that just underneath the leaves. There we go. And so the next thing we need to do is just wrap around our string. So I've got you're going to wrap it around this piece and then glue it on there, but I've just got it there, so it's just ready to go, that when I've done my wrapping, that will go on there. And I don't know if you can see now that the little dots are becoming more and more obvious as the card dries out even more. So, all the dots where we put the water. Okay. So I'm going to put some tape. I'm going to use some snail. Helicopter's out again. So I'm just putting some snail on the back here, just to grab the string as we go through. Oops, it's running off. Go back on. And I'm going to be doing a knot on this side, so I'm leaving this one sort of a bit further over there. Okay, so round the back, and you're going to go around 3 times not over your thumb. And you want them to be parallel to each other. So I'm going to go a bit further down because I don't want it to be too high. I think I might, oh no, I can't start at the bottom because that's where I want my knot to be. More fingers and thumbs with this today. Right, so there. Okay, so stick it to the back. So I'm holding that where it wants to be. You're going to come down a little bit and go round, down a little bit more. And I'm doing it on the tighter side rather than the looser side. So she says as she lets that go loose, stick that on the back. Okay, and then what you want is to come back out there in line with the other one. Obviously once you've done this you can faff about with it a little bit, but I don't want to have to be faffing about with it too much, so I'm just doing just a double knot here, trying to keep that as tight as possible. Oh, for goodness sake. There are things you can do if it's too loose. And that, no, that's fine. Okay, there we go. So I'm just going to put, see, it's a bit of a ham-fisted at the back, but at the front, these just line up really, really well. Okay. So, just going to add the glue. Make sure, particularly here, you get into the corners because you want that. You don't want them curling up. So, okay, and then I'm going to pop that so that the borders are nice and symmetrical. A bit twisted. Just remember you've got some snail on here, so as soon as the snail is pressed down, that's it, that's where you're staying. Okay, so this is just moved a little bit, so I'm just going to move that one down and this one up a bit. See, as I say, you've got a little bit of wiggle room with your string before you actually press it down. It's still a bit skewy, but it's fine. Handmade, not machine made in China. And get those bits glued down either side of the glue as well, the string rather, as well. So I'm happy with that. Just a little seepage. Get rid of that. So scissors. And I have just left very, you know, so almost, probably not even half a centimetre either side of that little knot. It's just a little detail there, and then we just need to put the rest of the card together. See, it's creeping up there at the bottom. It's worth spending that extra few seconds just to make sure it's actually glued down, because this Tombow does take a little minute to dry, which is great because it gives you the wiggle room. But sometimes you just need to make sure it's gone down. Right, and we'll put together the rest of the card. So nice and simple blending technique there. And quite a nice layout. I think it's this layout works well for lots and lots of cards. You know, it's worth having a few sort of go-tos for making a quick card. So you could have like an image in the detail part and actually put the sentiment elsewhere. You know, there's plenty of room at the bottom to put the sentiment, although obviously you'd have to stamp it before you embossed, otherwise it's not going to work. And again, because embossing has distorted the paper, make sure you get right to the corners so that they're not lifting. Don't think I've got any, there it is. Okay. There we go. So again, placing that central, don't press it down until you're happy. And then on the first one I place this flat, but I think I'm going to raise it up on dimensionals for this one. So I'll just out. 2, 3, 4, 5. If you were doing battle with the postage system, I'd probably have put 9 on, but because I'm probably going to give this to somebody, I will just put the 5 on, it'll be sufficient. Okay, so that's card 1 done. March is a 5 Thursday month, so we're getting bonus cards this month. So you're going to get an extra card at the end of the month. So I hope you're going to enjoy this series. There we go. So you could do that, and then you could put sentiment down at the bottom if you wanted. That's just a picture, so nice little layout for you. So I hope you've enjoyed that, and take care, and I will see you next week. Bye.